News 3 WSIL. Here's what's happening right now.
A man who helped assist in a local kidnapping case is honored by police.
Plus, a local nurse is speaking out after being denied an exemption from SIH's vaccine mandate.
But first, a local group of veterans visit landmarks in D.C. commemorating the sacrifices they made for our country. News 3 at 10 starts right now.
We've got you covered. From WSIL, this is News 3 at 10.
Veterans Honor Flight 7 arrived safely at home tonight. Good evening, I'm Julie Williams.
And I'm Mark Kiesling. Local veterans are back in our region after a one-day trip to Washington, D.C. They visited landmarks honoring the wars they fought in and the comrades lost.
We've had special coverage of Honor Flight 7 since it departed early this morning. News 3's Maya Skinner was there when it touched down. Maya, what was that emotion like?
Julie and Mark, tonight it was all smiles and cheers as 87 veterans arrived from their trip to Washington, D.C. Hundreds of people came out to support and welcome them back. I spoke with a few families who were so excited and proud to see their loved one on the honor flight. One family had two sisters that planned to surprise their dad. One traveled from Missouri and the other flew all the way from Florida. I spoke with them earlier about what this event means to them, and their dad told me he enjoyed seeing the Arlington Cemetery.
To see the pride of being the veteran and being with others and the love that they share and the love that he's going to show us when he sees us. That's important.
The flight was good. There were a lot of veterans. We had things in common. We were brothers and sisters. We thought it was important enough to join the armed forces or be drafted because of love of our country. When we went in to swear in, we said I do, and that do meant I was willing to die for my country.
There were 12 other veterans that planned to be on the flight, but they've passed away. Veterans honored their welcome with a tribute at the beginning of the event. This is the first flight in 2 years due to the pandemic. This year, all passengers had to be vaccinated before they could fly. Live in the studio, Maya Skinner, News 3.
The weather certainly cooperated with the return tonight. Very comfortable conditions. Temperatures dropped off real quickly once the sun dropped down. Quiet conditions all across the region. Our live camera view looking out over Carbondale right now. Just a pretty nice night to be outside. Temperatures similar to what we had again last night with just a little bit of light south breeze coming back every once in a while. Forecast maps through the overnight showing increasing clouds is expected. And you can see a small chance of rain presented there in our westernmost county, showing on Carter and Ripley. Those showers may be a little closer to the Mississippi, but you get the idea. Just a small chance of one or two little showers in the forecast for tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll just be an increase in clouds. Early morning temperatures likely going to be in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees with light south winds. Tomorrow afternoon will likely still be much warmer than normal, but not quite as hot as the last couple of days, mostly because we expect to see more clouds around. A little chance of rain comes in tomorrow night, but a much bigger chance arrives on Thursday and Friday. We'll sort that out in the forecast for you. It's coming up in just a bit.
A man who assisted police in a suspected kidnapping case has received a special honor from the city of Marion. During last night's city council meeting, resident Salomon Aguilar received a certificate and a medallion for his efforts. Police contacted Aguilar on the morning of September 8th to help translate for a woman reportedly taken from Tennessee. Aguilar says the honor came as a shock after he said he did the right thing.
I just did it because, like I say, they needed help, and then I wanted to help out, even though I didn't even know the lady, but I was happy to do it, and I'll do it again if I have to.
Wilmer Bautista faces multiple felony charges in that kidnapping case. He made his first appearance in court yesterday, and a judge sent the case to a jury trial. Pre-trial is set for December 20th.
The FBI says gun killings are at their biggest increase in 60 years. That's based on data from last year that says those killings rose to 30%. Now, in our region, Carbondale United wants to find ways to fight gun violence. They've held an online forum with local leaders and organizations. Carbondale United says they've come up with ideas for new programs geared toward kids and adults. They also tell us renovating the Dentman Center would create another space for the community.
I don't want to see another person die. That's the main and biggest important reason. The other reason is SIU. It's the glue that holds Carbondale together. If people start feeling like it's not safe to send their kids here, we lose that glue.
Maxwell tells us they do plan to have another meeting soon.
Illinois students and educators will soon have more mental health support. The Illinois State Board of Education announced a $100 million grant today. The grant will fund partnerships between school districts and community organizations that handle trauma. The partnerships and funding will prioritize schools and communities hit hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. Officials say the partnerships will help students and educators both in and out of school hours.
Illinois reports its first human rabies case since 1954. Health officials say it was a Lake County resident. They say he woke up with a bat on his neck. That bat was captured and tested positive for rabies. Now, the resident denied post-exposure rabies treatment. He later died from the virus. U.S. officials say human rabies cases are uncommon, but they are reported every year.
Illinois officials say this year's turnout at the State Fair in Springfield nearly broke a record. Newly released data shows more than 472,000 people were at the fair last month. That's the second highest turnout for the event. The record was set back in 2019 when close to 509,000 people attended. Governor J.B. Pritzker says it's great news considering COVID-19 mitigations may have kept some people away. Officials have not yet released numbers for the DuQuoin State Fair.
In today's COVID conversation, I sat down with Dr. Bombra of SIH. He's a pulmonologist, so he deals directly with the lungs. He tells me he was in New York last March when the pandemic hit. He tells me he and his fellow doctors at SIH had only days to make sure they were ready for the influx of COVID patients.
We got a head start by about 7 days, and I think about 7 days we were able to set up our systems so that when the patients actually start pouring in, we were in a better position to take care of them.
Dr. Bombra says COVID-19 can essentially tear at the lining in your lungs. He compares it in a way to suffocating and says a lot of his post-COVID patients are dealing with long-term effects.
Controversy continues tonight over SIH's vaccine mandate. Employees have three options: get the vaccine, request medical or religious exemptions, or face termination. Some local health professionals say they're frustrated over the exemption after their requests have been denied. One local nurse who wishes to remain anonymous claims she was never told the reason her request was denied.
My HR director was the one that sent me the email stating I was denied. I asked her for a response. She said she was not given one.
A local nursing student says she was just 2 weeks into her program when the mandate came down. She says she wasn't even given the option to request an exemption. SIH says it granted medical and religious exemptions during a rigorous review process. But the Liberty Counsel is threatening litigation, saying SIH discriminated against employees' civil rights. The FDA is reviewing the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. Health officials say cases among children are on the rise and that more parents are waiting to vaccinate their children. ABC's Morgan Norwood explains when that authorization may happen.
A major step forward in protecting children from COVID-19. Pfizer's data on its vaccine for children under the age of 12 now in the hands of the FDA. Dr. Anthony Fauci on MSNBC with a potential timeline for authorization.
In the next few weeks, they will examine that data and hopefully they'll give the okay so that we can start vaccinating children, hopefully before the end of October.
Federal officials tell ABC the timeline could slide by a few weeks. At Dayton Children's Hospital, more protection for kids can't come soon enough.
This year, it just seems like they're just so much sicker. Can't breathe, having a really hard time breathing. I'm worried and anxious for them.
The anticipation for the FDA's green light on child vaccines comes as the demand for Pfizer's booster shot surges. From Hawaii to Illinois, thousands lining up for their third dose. The White House still tugging at the 70 million Americans who remain unvaccinated to catch up.
Those who are unvaccinated remain the most vulnerable to infection, severe disease, hospitalization.
The pleas echoed by hospital systems begging their healthcare workers to comply with vaccine mandates. In New York, vaccination rates for state healthcare workers spiking overnight to 94% ahead of the deadline. In Washington, frustrated nurses pushing back against the protocol, willing to risk their jobs.
I don't consider myself a super spreader. I think it should be a choice.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
If you're looking for a furry friend to call your own, why not try Pet Fest? It's a one-of-a-kind adoption event this weekend. It's free and family-friendly. Organizers say there are dogs and cats of all ages looking for their forever home. The cat adoption fee is lowered. You can adopt one for $30 or two for $40. There's a cash-only vaccine and microchip clinic from 10 to 1. Pet Fest is at the Oasis Event Center in Marion this Saturday from 10 to 4.
It didn't feel much like fall out there today. Is summer making a comeback?
Jim will let us know in his full forecast. That's coming up next on News 3 at 10.
It's been on the warm side, no argument with that at all, but a little more comfortable than what we were seeing in the middle of summer. And the big reason, the humidity is down. Dew point's much lower than what we were dealing with a few weeks ago. And that's one reason we've seen the bright blue skies. That's going to change a little bit tomorrow as we start to feel a little more humidity and see a few more clouds in the sky. Right now, quiet conditions showing up in our live camera looking out over the Benton Square. And the quiet conditions will stick around throughout tonight. Tomorrow, clouds will be on the increase across the region, but they are moving in from the south. So the Boot Heel, West Tennessee will cloud up a little more quickly, and it even has a chance of seeing an evening shower in our southern sections. But threat tracker bar all the way to the bottom. That changes on Thursday and Friday. The chance of rain goes up. I still feel like what I'm looking at in the charts, most of us have a pretty good chance of seeing at least a passing shower on Thursday. Friday, the chance drops off a little bit, but because we're talking about the chance for thunder and lightning, not severe weather, but just thunder and lightning, threat tracker bars pulled almost to the moderate level, and that will run all the way through the weekend. Again, not looking for an outbreak of really bad storms, but during a time when many of us want to be outside, just one bolt of lightning can be a big impact, so we need to be aware of that chance. For tomorrow, mostly clear skies early. We'll give way to partly cloudy to even mostly cloudy conditions by afternoon. I've got 87 on the board for a high. If you see more clouds around, it's likely not going to get quite that warm, but would still be probably a muggy 84 or 85. Breezes will be out of the south and southeast tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures have dropped into the upper 60s already, very similar to what we had last night this time. Chicago's 58, while Dallas is still reporting 79. Satellite imagery, clear skies hanging on here. We can see the influence of the humidity coming off the Gulf of Mexico, but notice in the last couple of frames, you can see the winds sweeping some of that moisture away from us. Thunderstorms firing up in the afternoon between Dallas and Oklahoma City, and activity shows up on radar. Storms are starting to diminish a little bit, and that activity should go away within the next 3 or 4 hours. Some of that energy may eventually roll close to us. Forecast maps first thing tomorrow morning. There's the clouds we're talking about in our southern sections. Showers and thunderstorms off to the west, not making much progress in here, but the clouds certainly will. If you looked real closely, and you had to watch real closely, just a couple of little green spots pop in there as little bitty chances that we might see a shower. The chance so small over across the entire region. I left it off the forecast board, but we know there is that little bitty chance. Thursday, much bigger chance rolling in here, and not just showers, but a chance we could see showers and thunderstorms. And then when we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, most of the chances coming back at little isolated or pop-up type thunderstorms, more clouds around, so afternoon temperatures not as hot, and eventually looking for a cold front to roll through. It looks like the front will likely arrive Monday or Tuesday. Once it moves past, the chance of rain goes away, but you can also notice the afternoon temperatures dropping back quite a bit, actually. Talking about some low 70s as possible highs. That's even a little cooler than normal in some of our locations.
Okay.
Fall's on the way.
Coming back again.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
The U.S. government is just 2 days away from a possible shutdown.
Lawmakers are having a hard time agreeing on a number of issues, like Congress passing a funding bill. Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with more.
Amid gridlock in Congress, time is running out to avert a government shutdown and U.S. debt crisis.
Keeping the government open and preventing default is vital to our country's future, and Democrats are going to make sure we do not lapse on either.
Without a funding agreement, the government will shut down at midnight Thursday. That could mean thousands of federal workers get furloughed, including 43% of Department of Health and Human Services staff.
Having services shut down, staffing cut in different agencies is not in the interests of addressing any crisis we face.
And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen now says the government won't be able to pay its bills unless Congress raises the debt limit by October 18th. A scenario she calls catastrophic, as nearly 50 million Americans wouldn't receive Social Security payments.
It would be disastrous for the American economy, for global financial markets, and for millions of families and workers whose financial security would be jeopardized by delayed payments.
Republicans are standing firm, insisting Democrats must include a debt ceiling hike as part of their $3.5 trillion budget bill.
If Democrats want to use fast-track, party-line procedures to ram through trillions more in inflationary socialism, they'll have to use the same tools to handle the debt limit.
Democrats are still trying to iron out their differences over their budget bill, which includes funding for universal pre-K, paid maternity leave, free community college, and investments to fight climate change. Moderate Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema meeting with the president at the White House as they try to reach an agreement.
Now, there's one more piece to the puzzle in Congress, and that's the roughly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. It's set for a final vote in the House on Thursday, but progressives are still threatening to block it unless more progress is made on that broader budget bill. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Be on the lookout for fake prescription pills. U.S. officials say they're made to look like prescription opioids or stimulants like Adderall. They tell us the fake drugs are often sold online and through social media. Those pills are actually laced with fentanyl and methamphetamine. The DEA says just this year they've seized more than 9 million of the fake pills. That's more than the past 2 years combined. Law enforcement says a vast majority of the pills are actually brought in to the United States.
Gabby Petito's parents issued a statement today through their attorney. That attorney says the parents don't know the whereabouts of her fiance, Brian Laundrie. The 23-year-old was last seen 2 weeks ago and remains a person of interest in Petito's death. A coroner has ruled her death a homicide but has not revealed the exact cause of death. The attorney for the Petitos says he remains skeptical Laundrie's family will assist in the investigation.
R. Kelly's victims are speaking out after his conviction in federal court. Kelly is convicted on 8 counts of sex trafficking and 1 count of racketeering. The 54-year-old says he's innocent. His lawyers say his relationships with the women in the lawsuit were consensual. They suggest his accusers want to cash in on his money. Now, one of R. Kelly's lawyers say he does plan to file an appeal. As of now, R. Kelly is scheduled to be sentenced in May. He faces anywhere between 10 years and life in prison.
The man responsible for the 2018 Capitol Gazette shooting has been sentenced to more than 5 life terms in prison. 41-year-old Jared Ramos was found criminally responsible for killing 5 people at a newspaper in Maryland. Ramos pleaded guilty to 23 counts against him in 2019, but tried taking Maryland's version of an insanity plea. In July, a jury rejected arguments that his actions were caused by mental illness. Prosecutors say Ramos acted out of revenge after the newspaper published a story about a misdemeanor charge against him. Officials say they're intercepting more weapons at airports than before the pandemic. The TSA says more than 7,900 weapons have been found this year alone. Of those, roughly 4,500 are considered live weapons, which include loaded guns. Officials say guns are allowed on planes, but under strict rules. The guns need to be unloaded, packed in a hard container, and checked into the cargo hold.
You can see all these stories and more right on your phone. We have a new News 3 app. It's available on Google Play and on the Apple App Store. The WSIL app is free. You'll also get the latest updates on our region's weather. Now, our old apps will be going away, so you want to be sure to download those new apps soon.
We invite you to stay with us.
Kendra is next with sports.
Hi.
The last 2 days are often connected. And so now people.
The Goreville Black Cats have just 2 losses on their resume. Tonight they faced off against a tough Johnson City team looking for win number 11 on the season. The Black Cats would jump to an early lead in the first set, controlling most of the game. Kylie Massey pass sets Caitlin Dunning for the kill. Haley McBride delivers a tough serve. Goreville's able to pop it up, but is too close to the net. Bailey Weber sees her shot and smashes it for the point. Goreville takes the first set 25-20, and then in the second, they keep the momentum rolling. That's Abby Compton going deep cross court, and the Black Cats improve to 11-2 on the season, beating out the Indians in straight sets 25-20, 25-20.
The chemistry, they're having fun and playing ball. They're all playing good. They're on their feet, they're communicating and playing as a team.
Walking into the game, I was super nervous for some reason. I was very intimidated, and having my team behind me, we just worked together, and I love obviously getting them done in 2 sets, and we worked really hard to get it done.
We're really energized, and when we do get that little bit of energy, we really just grow off of it, and we really grow off of each other and each other's plays.
Carbondale High School has a new girls basketball coach. Tracy Hill comes to the program after head coaching stints with West Frankfort and Carmi White County's basketball teams. The former Evansville Division I basketball player has found herself in 3 separate Hall of Fames. Now she will use her experience to run Carbondale's program and turn it around.
I've been in the Black Diamond, and I've been in the River to River, and now I'm in the South 7. So, all these conferences have been very, very tough. And I know, with the big schools in the South 7, that's going to be even tougher. But, I've gained a lot of I've developed a rapport with other coaches, and I know what it's going to take, to be successful. And so my hope is just to do the best I can and try to get the numbers up and build the program so that we can be competitive.
Lack of eligible players due to injury and illness has forced the West Frankfort varsity football team to cancel their game at Murfreesboro this Friday. The Redbirds do hope to continue to return to action the following Friday on October 8th. Murfreesboro will receive the forfeit win. To the College Gridiron, Illinois gets a break from conference play to regroup. The Fighting Illini is 1-4 on the season, suffering 4 straight losses since their season opening win over Nebraska. This Saturday, the Fighting Illini take on Charlotte out of the Conference USA. It is a home game with a noon kickoff. You can watch that on the Big Ten Network. The Missouri Valley Conference is expanding. Belmont has accepted an invitation to join the league and will become the 11th member in the fall of 2022. The Bruins have been a member of the Ohio Valley Conference since 2012. Both the Bruins men's and women's basketball programs have been very competitive in recent years. Here we're looking at the men taking on Murray State, those men making 8 NCAA appearances in the last 16 seasons, and the women have won 5 conference tournament titles in the last 6 years. Former Saluki football star Jeremy Chinn continues his jersey auctions for charity. This past weekend, Chinn wore Packers Hall of Famer Sterling Sharp's jersey. Chinn said proceeds from the auction will go towards Hurricane Ida reliefs. Every game day, Chinn shows up in a new sports jersey that he will later auction for charity. And the St. Louis Cardinals are on a tear. Tonight, the Redbirds clinched a spot in the postseason with a win over the Brewers. That's the final out, improved their win streak to 17 games, Major League Baseball's third longest win streak in the last 60 years. And the Cubs fall 8-6 to the Pirates, and White Sox beat out the Reds 7-1.
All right, thank you, Kendra. This is a sentimental story out of Kentucky tonight. One man is taking a trip down memory lane in his late mother's car. John Barry says the lime green convertible was bought for his mother in 1971. Well, she died unexpectedly when Barry was 15 and the car was sold. He says its owner finally decided to part with it. So now Barry has it. He says driving his mom's old car brings back a lot of memories. And Barry says it is a dream come true.
Looks like whoever had that car took very good care of it. It's
yeah,
a beauty.
It looks stellar. And Jim, some folks out there might be driving a convertible tonight,
Yeah,
right?
good evening. I owned a convertible for a brief time, and I learned real quickly it's better to drive them at night. The afternoon gets a little dangerous with bright sunshine like we've had. Sunny skies expected tomorrow in Chicago. Afternoon temperatures in the 70s, so the cool down starting up north. Kalamazoo only 72, and Buffalo looking at an afternoon high in the 60s. Certainly some cool weather in the northeast. We see the heat back in the plains and more chances for showers and thunderstorms. Some of the biggest chances running from, say, around Little Rock towards Jackson, Mississippi. It will help keep the temperatures down, but some of those storms may be on the strong side.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
And that'll do it for us tonight at 10. Jimmy Kimmel Live's up next.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
Mic check. The Goreville Blackcats have just 2 losses on their resume. Last night they faced off against a tough Johnson City team looking for win number 11 on the season. The Blackcats would jump to an early lead in the first set, controlling most of the game. Kylie Massey pass sets Caitlin Dunning for the kill. Hallie McBride delivers a tough serve. Goreville able to pop it up, but it's too close to the net. Bailey Weber sees her opportunity and smashes it down for the point. Goreville takes the first set 25-20, and then in the second, they keep on rolling. Abby Compton goes deep cross court, and the Blackcats improve to 11-2 on the season, beating out the Indians in straight sets 25-20, 25-20.
The chemistry, they're having fun and playing ball. They're all playing good. They're on their feet, they're communicating and playing as a team.
Walking into the game, I was super nervous for some reason. I was very intimidated, and having my team behind me, we just worked together, and I love obviously getting them done in 2 sets, and we worked really hard to get it done.
We're really energized, and when we do get that little bit of energy, we really just grow off of it, and we really grow off of each other and each other's plays.
Carbondale High School has a new girls basketball coach. Tracy Hill comes to the program after head coaching stints with West Frankfort and Carmi White County's basketball teams. The former Division I basketball player from Evansville has already found herself in 3 separate Hall of Fames. Now she will use that experience to turn Carbondale's program around.
I've been in the Black Diamond, and I've been in the River to River, and now I'm in the South 7. So, all these conferences have been very, very tough. And I know, with the big schools in the South 7, that's going to be even tougher. But, I've gained a lot of I've developed a rapport with other coaches, and I know what it's going to take, to be successful. And so my hope is just to do the best I can and try to get the numbers up and build the program so that we can be competitive.
Lack of eligible players due to injury and illness has forced the West Frankfort varsity football team to cancel their upcoming game at Murfreesboro this Friday, but the Redbirds do hope to return to action the following Friday. That would be October 8th. Murfreesboro will receive the forfeit win. To the College Gridiron, Illinois gets a break from conference play to regroup. The Fighting Illini are 1-4 on the season, suffering 4 straight losses since their opening win over Nebraska. This Saturday, Illinois will take on Charlotte out of Conference USA. It's a home game, a noon kickoff, and you can watch that on the Big Ten Network. The Missouri Valley Conference is expanding. Belmont has accepted an invitation to join the league and will become the 11th member of the league in the fall of 2022. The Bruins have been a member of the Ohio Valley Conference since 2012. Both the Bruins men's and women's basketball programs have been very competitive in recent years, the men making 8 NCAA appearances in the last 16 seasons, and the women having won 5 conference tournament titles in the last 6 years. Former Saluki football star Jeremy Chinn continues his jersey auctions for charity. This past weekend, Chinn wore Packers Hall of Famer Sterling Sharp's jersey. Chinn said proceeds from the auction will go towards Hurricane Ida relief efforts. Every game day, Chinn shows up in a new sports jersey that he later auctions for charity. And the St. Louis Cardinals are on a tear. Last night, the Redbirds clinched a spot in the postseason with a huge win over the Brewers. They improved their win streak to 17 games. That's Major League Baseball's 3rd longest win streak in the last 60 years. And the Cubs fall 8-6 to the Pirates, and the White Sox beat out the Reds 7-1. I'm Kendra Sheehan. Have a wacky Wednesday. All right. Let's do this. I match. Oh yeah, that's right. This week's Student Athlete of the Week is Goreville's Abby Compton. Abby comes from an athletic family, and it shows on the court. The sophomore had numerous skills and helped lead her team to a huge win over Johnson City on Tuesday in straight sets. When I asked Abby the key to getting all those kills on the court, she was quick to credit others.
Setter is just, she's amazing, and she always places the ball where it's supposed to be. And not even just me, she's just amazing all around, and yeah.
Multiple kills. She's on fire this season. She usually throws the other team off with her nasty sets.
Abby has helped guide her team to a solid overall record, and both her and her coach say their team is just getting started. They are on a roll. Every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. we will highlight our newest Student Athlete of the Week.